as we go in to the ban and protect phase, as that is a lightning fast Wolverine ban.
Yeah, you don't want to chance it. Hypnotic has looked incredible on that, although Chronix also has played a great Wolverine over the course of the night. I think Donald and Texie have learned their lesson, though. They don't want to face that down. And Platinum Star said, I mean, Skittles was pretty honest about this. He's like, we really don't like dealing with the Groot. We sort of prefer to ban it out here. So that is going to be consistent with what we heard from them already. Now it's time for our protects. You start thinking about what the heroes are that have really been so central. And I would agree. I think the Magneto continuously shutting down these strategists midway through their healing ultimates has been a big part of Platinum Star's strategy.
Yeah, it also seems pretty fine to play the Magneto in terms of like a solo tank setup. So the protect on the other side of things for Kanga, that will be the Storm. So we've seen Storm be pretty strong here today, and that'll be a Winter Soldier ban for their final one. We'll get to see what Platinum Star decides to do here to end things off. Luna Snow available, right? To potentially be banned. Cloak and Dagger as well, another one that we've seen, and it'll actually be Banner, so they'll get rid of the Hulk. It seems like Platinum Star just wants to play like solo tank type stuff, but with Wolverine out, they might be forced into a little bit of a different setup.
Yeah, they could also play the double shield comp, right? With this setup pretty comfortably. They've protected Magneto, and yeah, it looks like Lumi is definitely thinking about coming out on the Doctor Strange. So it makes us feel like it's a little bit more of a war of attrition with these setups, right? I'm looking at Revsy to be a pretty impact player in these situations, and we know that Storm can generate like a large amount of burst in a pinch, but it's not like we have a Thor team up or anything like that. We do, of course, have the Hela and Loki team up potentially, which again like allows Loki to get healed up or rezzed if Revsy is getting those KOs, and Revsy gets a lot of KOs on this pick, a heck of a lot.
It's just so fascinating to see a team where a lot of the rosters that were submitted and put together for this event here in OCE was built around like 2 Vanguards, 2 Duelists, and 2 Strategists, where Platinum Star basically said, okay, we're gonna get like 1 standout in each role, and then we're gonna get just like the sickest players we can find at all different types of roles and just put them on a team. And it seems that route has definitely paid off. Double shield here on defense here for Platinum Star, and the Storm obviously essential for both teams here at the moment.
Yeah, you'll notice though that Kanga do have access to the Luna Snow and Namor team up, so there will be an extra creature to summon with an added sort of slow effect. But again, Revsy yesterday really blew my mind on this Hela. That's something that Kanga don't have to work with, and you've got to be careful. Like Hyrax wants to poke down, but Revsy can be just as lethal at that kind of range. This is going to get confusing. If anyone is a fan of Portal, we've got a similar situation on that high ground. Revsy doesn't really want to deal with that level of variance, so they take this off angle. Yeah.
They actually, that's really interesting. They use their strange portal as like they use both of them up on the high ground to kind of like block all that vision to create a little bit of an angle, right? Force Platinum Star off of that high ground, but it does not seem to matter, right? As 2 KOs come in for Platinum Star early on, but Hyrax continues to go pretty huge here on the Namor. It looks like they may be able to turn this.
Yeah, nice pick. So I think Tyrax setting this up beautifully. Adam is really low. Skittles, I don't think, in a position to do too much, although Ace could have added some healing to the mix. Really, just a numbers advantage here for Kanga. Well opened up, though, and Donald's actually over on the Venom. So, again, some pressure maybe to be put down on the Hela. I kind of like this look from Kanga. Definitely done their homework.
Yeah, I mean, there's no Hulk, right? You want to get back as fast as possible, as it's going to be a TP here, plus the Fate of Both Worlds from both sides. That's going to be a duplicate there from the God of Mischief. Just trying to get back on the point here for Platinum Star to hold on B.
That's nicely done. I love the Horde of Proteus there to guarantee to confirm the kill on Revsy. Fate of Both Worlds comes out here for Crimson, though. Pretty good position to be in if you're Kanga. Eye of Agamotto does come out, but again, hard to see if there's great purchase from it. Donald got into the back line. Lumi was picked out, and hey, this is a different looking Kanga Esports. Much quicker on the uptake this time around.
Yeah, and the Venom actually is a really nice pick there towards the end, right? Obviously to get back in the fight rather quickly, right? But the Feast of the Abyss, you just gain so much health out of that Venom ultimate, but then also the cellular corrosion, right? Where you're able to just kind of grab those players, slow them down as they leave that Doctor Strange teleport. You get a lot of value.
Yeah, and also it's like one of the only forms of like real burst damage that you can get from Venom outside of the ultimate. So the Feast of the Abyss does give you a little bit, but it's pretty scary. You do not want to hang around near Venom if that cellular corrosion is kicking in. Donald knocked off the high ground here. That will be denied now. Or we do at least have Revsy able to throw down this Goddess of Death. Big damage on Chronix though. Yeah, it's just the splash damage ends up claiming the Storm. So just the one pick here for Platinum Star, but it's a lot to work with, and it really is a centerpiece hero on Kanga's composition down.
Well, what's your thoughts on the Namor versus the Hela? Like, I think the Hela has a little bit more burst damage, right? Especially if you're going to try and play, take out that Storm up on the high ground, right? It feels like one or two shots able to just deal with the Storm, where there may just be more consistent pressure from the Namor.
Yeah, again, I do also think that I'm favoring the ultimate from Namor a lot. The Hornet Proteus has been really impactful in some of these fights and really just collapsing these squishier backlines. But this is what happened, Matt. When Revsy gets a little bit of space to work with, right? When there is no pressure coming in from the Venom, when there is no, just a sheer weight of ultimates being thrown in the Hela's direction.
Also, Hela gets a little bit more like vertical mobility, right? Where Hela is able to use the Astral Flux to just gain high ground control. And then, like, the Namor doesn't really have that ability, right? He can do it in certain situations, but not as good. So look at this. They're going to take like a little bit of a rooftop purchase here. So this is going to force Revsy into a low ground position. Not ideal.
Yeah, we kind of flipped the map in a way here. The Namor summons are also being deployed up on this high ground, which is actually very annoying here to be dealt with. So Platinum Star also going for a Namor of their own here. They do want to take advantage of that very same team up that we saw be so effective. But here, Kanga can play from here all they want, but they do eventually need to move the payload sort of through the map. So they are going to have to commit to the objective here, give up that high ground control. But Hornet Proteus is at the ready. You can see Tyrax is looking for an opportunity to send that into a backline. It's Hypnotic going down first. So that's the Namor off the map, but Adam just does not miss when it comes to those Meteor M's. Blocks off the damage as well for the Hornet Proteus. And Platinum Star are in a good position now. Beta Both Worlds is active, but Inspo does have that same ultimate available. So, got a Trickery, going to be used. The healing is good, but Revsy has some space. Once these support ultimates that they start to sort of dissipate, the Hela can really start to make use of that position.
Yeah, you do have that Hela ultimate available as well, right? So potentially getting up in the sky with the Goddess of Death is that's going to be Revsy using this. Oh, but look at the focus fire that comes out. Really nice stuff there from Kanga.
You can see what Tyrax can do. Revsy definitely gets clowned on there. The range just really working out quite well for Namor. I think Revsy actually ends up falling to one of the sea creatures there instead of the Trident itself. So look, a little bit of slowing down here for Platinum Star. They are at least able to get themselves back into the game time-wise, but we are going to see a time extension here for Kanga Esports rather. And now they're inside the main building.
And I think you're really going to have to look at how Chronic plays this Storm towards the last part of the map, right? A lot of pressure with the Hela and the Namor out there, especially with the team up with the Luna Snow. So you're going to have to be very careful on Storm. You kind of have to play this almost perfectly. Potentially even like after you use the Omega Hurricane to potentially swapping off of it.
Chronic's here. I don't know if we've really even seen an Omega Hurricane, at least not one that has taken over the fight, but it's pretty scary. We're about to see it now, in fact. Pyrax here, of course, with plenty of backup from those sea creatures, and Texi, although a little bit low, is happy to help him along the way. Chronix doesn't want to fully commit with this, but Lumi just seems to be pretty deep in Kanga's formation, so it's an easy pickup and a very high value one at that. Doctor Strange getting picked off, and now, once again, Platinum Star still on the back foot.
As Kanga's really stepped up their game here, as we talked about what adjustments they make maybe going in to this grand final. So far, starting off in great shape, right? Setting themselves up for a map completion. Eye of Agamotto here, potentially from the high ground.
They're technically going to drop down. He sees the back line here, so both those strategists at risk of being caught out. Beta Both Worlds is popped just in time. Good preemptive use of that ultimate there from Skittles, but now there's much more of a fight to be had on the objective itself. Ace trying to dodge away from this storm damage, but Chronix eventually is going to get what they came for. They will not be denied. Meteor M from Donald there doesn't connect, but it frankly doesn't have to. There's too much good going on for Kanga elsewhere. Bloom is going to be shoved straight off the point here. Adam also. The Bulwark not going to be able to keep him alive long enough, and that is a pretty healthy time to finish a push with Kanga Esports with over a minute.
Hey, maybe we got ourselves a little bit of a game here in our grand finals as Kanga finishes with a minute left. They run the storm the entire time, right? You can see it definitely gave Platinum Star a little bit of trouble, right? Because they switch over to they end up running a Namor with the Hela to try and deal with it, but they are just never really able to, get that storm out of the sky and never really gave Chronic some trouble.
And Hela, of course, like does to some degree, suffer from fall off in terms of that damage, but so do all of these longer range duelists. And frankly, there's no reason why the Hela can't be good here, can't be highly effective. I do think that the Goddess of Death is something that is easy to play around now, especially if you've got a pretty heads up Doctor Strange player who can just throw that shield of the Seraphim in front and soak that damage. Let's see the damage here. Revsy at 10k. Chronic's obviously, we're not too worried about the storm damage, but in general, like the output has been pretty good on the Platinum Star side.
I mean, look at the assists as well there from Chronic, right? That's like kind of the damage that comes from Storm being able to obviously kind of switch with the phases from, giving speed or damage to teammates, right? So you kind of think there's a lot of, 14 KOs plus 10 assists. There's a lot of contribution there from Chronic.
I mean, the front line is getting a lot of these final hits, Matt. Donald and Texi, pretty deadly duo. They're up against it though, up against Lumi and Adam, but so far they've given more than as good as they've gotten. See how it plays out here though, and we saw the strategy from Kanga was to throw a couple of those portals up to block that line of sight. Playing those different here for Platinum Star.
Are you a bit surprised that Platinum Star hasn't played like a triple duelist type of comp here, right? That's like kind of what we were talking about in the first series. They were using the Wolverine as like a pseudo tank, right? So Wolverine does get banned in this, and maybe that's kind of thrown things off a little bit, but it feels like there's still some options.
The Winter Soldier also got banned, and that was Ace's flex when there is like a triple duelist setup here. So I think Kanga targeted that comp especially. They're trying to force Platinum Star to play 2-2-2 as we call it. And it seems to have worked, at least for the time being. We might get variations in that ban strategy as time goes on, but look at the pressure on Adam. My goodness, he has had to get the heck out of dodge. And Kanga are controlling this space really well so far.
And Kanga not pushed off the high ground, right? If you think about Platinum Star's defense, with some nice tech from Texi that pushed them off of the high ground, and it's not happening here. Is Kanga holding strong on the defensive side of things, but now they actually bully the Doctor Strange all the way out, and they get that early KO.
Okay, so both Lokis jumping in here. The dance floor is a little crowded right now as we have two Fate of Both Worlds. So what is that, 4 worlds that we're concerned about? Either way, Skittles here just backing up a little bit, and of course has the original Fate of Both Worlds available. Is this going to be effective?
Bring them all out.
Going to have to use it in response to the Omega Tornado here, Omega Hurricane, excuse me. As we see the Goddess boost coming in, both Storms really trying to commit to the fight, get some good damage down, but the Meteor is going to be blocked. Nicely done by Adam to stave that damage off. Tyrax is still in a pretty dangerous position. No one, of course, has a Horn of Proteus to work with. But we do have a Storm here again from Platinum Stars. They've gone back in that direction. They've sort of foregone the Namor once more. Chronic's trying to fight for that high ground here, but Revsy doesn't want to give it up. Unfortunately, they're not given any choice. Adam goes a little bit low. Horn of Proteus in the back line, but this Omega Hurricane could be a game changer. There's just not enough healing, though, for Hypnotic midway through. And Chronix gets yet another one. Kanga are the more solid team on this first point.
The healing from Crimson and Inspo is really good there, right? Being able to keep Tyrax alive and Chronic when that Omega Hurricane comes on through. Both of those players targeted by that big Storm ultimate on the other side from Hypnotic, and they're just able to just kind of heal on through it and keep those duelists alive. And look at this, we're going to be fast on another approach here, but you're already below 1:30.
Now, our Loki ultimates are back though as well, so we're going to see another rendition of those Moonstone ultimate thrown in. Agamotto, it's kind of hard to see if Texi's connecting with anyone significant or if they're just Loki close, but Hypnotic was stunned up by that Eye of Agamotto. Now trying to back away again, we have our Fate of Both Worlds both in play. And it's Platinum Star that are trying to leverage this high ground and convert to low, but they're going to be dealing with an Omega Hurricane after these strategist ultimates expire. They've got to be careful. Nice little double stun there. I appreciate what we saw there, but Tyrax not able to follow up on that Horn of Proteus, and Texi just goes too low. There's too much pressure. I don't really know if there's going to be too much escape on this high ground for Kanga as Inspo trying to get away. Here's that Omega Hurricane thrown out as Revsy deals with Inspo, finally gets him off the map. Revsy's able to avoid this with a Crow and again maintain the high ground position despite all of the AoE damage thrown up here by Kanga, but low as they are, Chronix has been far too good on the Storm.
Well, Donald does get skills, right? So the Luna Snow is a large source of healing in terms of this comp. So it's going to put a lot of pressure here on Ace, keep everybody alive. They can't exactly push into Kanga at this moment because they're so low in terms of the HPS they're able to pull out.
Lumi drops as well. Crimson just getting a bit of a freebie there as finally the Shield of the Seraphim buckles and crumbles. You don't want to be in this position if you're Hypnotic, that's for sure. Storm with the fight taken to her is not a happy mutant at all. ASO had to find a couple, and a Mega Hurricane that comes out with just not enough backup behind it, and Revsy can't contest the point while they're in the Goddess of Death form, if I'm not mistaken. So that overtime now is at risk of ticking down, but Revsy's able to find 3 kills despite it.
Brings Ace back.
And yeah, Ace brought back, of course, with that team-up ability. All they needed to do was find one more final hit, and they got them into the fray. That actually turns it around. Revsy able to wait out that overtime, get the Loki back. Jeez, it was close, but what a turn here for P-Star.
Oh, I mean, we go right down to the wire as late as we can possibly go, as some changes here. Adam just goes to the Star-Lord to make it back to the point fast. He'll go back to spawn, switch back to Magneto, as man, that is too close for comfort there for Platinum Stars. They are getting pushed to their limit here. We were talking a little bit about like, oh man, I hope we end up getting a competitive game, and so far Kanga's definitely stepped up.
Yeah, I really like what I've seen from them so far. I think their like reliance on Storm has actually been well founded and has really paid off for them. I see like Revsy just really doesn't want to get off the Hela. That's fair enough, and Platinum Star just fancy having a Namor instead, so they just don't kind of have the option to create this kind of composition. I think it's going to be a big discussion point for us going forward.
You're also going to have to give something up, right, in the ban and protect process if you are Kanga. And it seems like this is probably the correct path, in that get rid of the Wolverine, and even if you leave the Hela in the game, you're going to end up with a little bit more of like a consistent game, right? And if Revsy comes in and just nails a bunch of shots, it's just going crazy, like you just kind of tip your hat and lose, right? But just don't let the Wolverine just kind of hijack everything you want to do.
Feels tough though for the Hela to get the value in this double shield comp, right? Texi constantly has this barrier up, and off cooldown, Donald's been using it as well. Here's Chronix though, Hurricane time.
Only 60 seconds left.
Chronix actually doesn't fully commit with this one. He realizes that there's no point trying to put yourself in a risky position when there's a Fate of Both Worlds active. Gloomy, Eye of Agamotto, and he catches on to Inspo, and Tyrax just lazily throws a trident into the direction of the enemy. Doctor Strange picks them up. Yeah, this is definitely Kanga looking the better team on this map so far. Full disengage has to be forced by P-Star, as that Horn of Proteus threatens to blow them up.
Yeah, Meteor M available though for Adam, and then also a Fate of Both Worlds for Skittles. So you believe that Platinum Star behind these big ultimates are going to continue throughout the map.
Some time at least for Platinum Star to get reinforcements. They are waiting, of course, on their second duelist to return to the fray, though, and that might be too big a window. But Texi gets caught out there. That is brutal stuff. Tries to go in for an Eye of Agamotto, but it ends up being their undoing instead. And that's Adam finding a double. Nasty little Meteor M. My goodness. Inspo and Crimson, both Lunar Snows in that moment, taken down.
Yeah, Texi was actually going into the back line trying to make a play with the Eye of Agamotto. Probably had a good idea that there was some, 3 or 4 ultimates on the other side of things, so needed to kind of catch them off guard, make a big play. So that's a nice stun there. Big freeze doesn't allow them to get back, but you see he gets picked off first, but really he's making the only play they can kind of make in that situation to try and stop the push that comes in from Platinum Star. They do lose inspo here. Looked like he thought about potentially like they were going to actually continue to move forward after that stun.
Just awkward grouping, for some reason there's not a barrier there. Isar's obviously acting as a hit scan ability there for Lunar Snow, just yields the kill. So Skills has found some nice little angles here to find important kills over the course of this map so far. But again, like, time is so short here for Platinum Star, Matt. They've got to ramp it up.
And Looney actually goes over Mitch and plays Mantis. So Mantis, one of the strategists that can actually pump out a decent amount of damage as well, right? Damage boost for teammates, and also providing a little bit of extra damage for herself on top of the healing over time capability.
I mean, yeah, they're going for triple strategist here, Matt. This is definitely Platinum Star saying we feel like we need this in order to win, and that might not be enough because Ace and Lumi both got blown up by that Horn of Proteus. Beautiful connection there by Tyrax. And there's not much more to say about this fight for Platinum Star. The switch over towards the Mantis has not given them the push they need.
I think this is great though for Kanga, right? You see all these changes and adjustments and kind of scrambling from Platinum Star. It feels like you have a little bit of an advantage, that what you're doing is working at the moment. For Kanga though, there's not really much of them to work with here on defense. You're probably going to get an Eye of Agamotto. You're going to get a God of Mischief as well. It's going to be Skittles using the Fate of Both Worlds just to get them in.
Okay, overtime is underway, and here come Platinum Star now. Over the objective, Kanga happy enough to back away, but yeah, Revsy needs to take a fight here. They need to get Tyrax. That would have been a problem in a longer fight. So that is the Namor down. Texas needs to go for a play. Eye of Agamotto comes out, catching on to Lumi. It's going to be the easy blow up. on the Manus, who's just about to get that Soul Resurgence available. However, Adam here with the Mag Cannon, pretty scary stuff as Texi has to give room back up to the end of the map and allow the objective to continue advancing.
Yeah, now you end up having Lumi pop that big Mantis with the Soul Resurgence here. It's going to be an Omega Hurricane coming in. See if this could end up being huge. It's actually going to be right on top of the point. They're trying to keep Adam up.
Yeah, I like that. It's held for quite a long time by Hypnotic, and Texi actually gets caught out by it. Oh no, Kanga can't save the Doctor Strange. Tyrax here, hoping to build towards yet another Horn of Proteus, but Chronix has also fallen. This is scary now. P-Stars Storm able to get in there and take down their opposite number. A lot of those summons being set up now, and Crimson trying to buy some time here on the objective itself. Tyrax surging forward, Horn of Proteus, that was perfect. We said he was looking for a big one, Matt, and that's about as big as it gets.
Oh, I mean, that is a huge Horn of Proteus thrown in towards the back line. Tegi's coming back in on the Venom using the cellular corrosion, capturing a few people. And that's Kanga getting on the board. I mean, they finish the map with a minute plus in the time bank, right? And then they get a hold on D. Really great start for Kanga.
I'm loving this. From what we saw from Kanga early on today, I do really question if they'd even be able to win a single map against Platinum Star. That's how one-sided at time that game felt. But there's a big difference between a best of 3 and a best of 7. And let's have a little glance down these damage numbers here. Chronix with a pretty insane game in terms of output, and Tyrax as well, just a real nuisance on that name or across the entirety of it. Pretty nuts healing from Crimson. Beautifully done. 53k top in the lobby in that metric. Yeah, that was a good game. Pretty close. And I think we're going to be treated to quite a series here.
Hey, dude, 41 KOs there from Tyrax. I mean, he's going crazy on the name more. So I think, though, this is a good strategy and one that's like you can replicate again here for Kanga, right? I think the Wolverine should be just first ban all the time. Like, if you can get rid of the Wolverine, that we talked a lot about in the last series that these teams made up. I felt like constantly they had no answer for it, right? And it was something that Platinum Star was able to use to great effect. If you get that out, they look a little bit more beatable, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen this Kanga Esports team be more than happy to play like double shield Vanguards, right? I think like between Donald and Texi, you've got a pretty dynamic front line, but if they can just sit on their preferred heroes, then they're going to have a great time. A lot of these options from Platinum Star, like, off the table. No banner available, of course. No Winter Soldier, that was taken off. Like you mentioned, the Wolverine. So it's great to see so quickly these adaptations coming out from Kanga here and definitely targeting the strength of Platinum Star, which was that switch over towards that triple duelist setup. They attempted triple strategist at one point, and that's when you could see the Platinum Star were actually struggling, and maybe that extra scrim time, that extra time together as a roster for Kanga Esports is giving them the edge in these high stress matches.
And potentially, right, this is where you have the VOD review, you have the extra time, being able to get these scrims and everything going, that this is where it all pays off, right? You've seen this Wolverine strategy, you've probably seen it from other teams as well in scrims leading up to this, and maybe you have a better chance of now adapting to it.
So that's map number 1 of this best of 7 out of the way. Kanga Esports starting on the right foot here, getting out to an early lead. Don't go too far, a break, and then we'll return with map number 2 and see if Platinum Star can fire back for themselves.